and welcome to Remember Me. I'm Maisie Adam.
And I'm Bryan.
Remember Me is the show that delves back into the lives of celebrities who were once household names.
The people who burst onto our screens in the 90s and noughties.
Were absolutely everywhere.
And then, seemingly, overnight, vanished.
So, where did they go? What are they doing now? And what do they look like now?
Older, I imagine. On Remember Me, we talk to the people who skyrocketed to fame from nowhere, how it felt, the highs, the inevitable lows, and what happened when the public, the press, and the pop culture moved on.
We're talking debauchery, partying, love stories, fame, fallout.
And the inevitable come down when the attention fades.
This is Remember Me. So, Scott, our guest today is Liberty X star Kelli Young.
I'm very excited because, of course, she was from Popstars initially,
Yes.
then formed Liberty X, which were huge.
Massive.
So many songs. I got my hair cut the other day and I was just playing wall-to-wall Liberty X. So my hairdresser, Derek, if he's watching or listening, is very excited for this. But just, it was the start of like music on TV as a competition.
Yes.
The idea that...
It's the blueprint.
The blueprint, you could be a regular person
Yeah.
with a bit of a dream
Yeah.
and then turn up at these auditions and then lo and behold, you could become famous overnight.
Absolutely. And worth saying as well, Liberty X, they weren't the winners.
No.
They was so Popstars was won by the band that was Hearsay.
Hearsay, yes.
And the other five that went after the final 10, 5 of them became Hearsay, won it, and the 5 that didn't basically didn't take that line down and still went and made an incredible band, Liberty X, including our guest today, Kelli Young. As you say, Scott, they were great.
They were. I mean, I think one of my early memories of Liberty X was firstly performing it when I was very young at a school dance show.
Of course.
Which is what you do when you're 11.
Yep.
Also, is it Ain't Nobody, the song? Made out with my first boy at a club when I was 18. It was this song and Sex on Fire by Kings of Leon.
Oh my god.
When I was 18.
Wow.
It was at True nightclub in York, which didn't have an E on, TRU. And they were doing a refurb at the time.
You were in the club mid-refurb?
Mid-refurb. And instead of them closing the club, they made it a construction party by giving everybody hard hats. Okay,
in my head, it's sort of like that Fifth Harmony video, you know, where they're all pretending to sort of do work on a tractor, but that none of them have clearly ever done any DIY. I think at one point, Camila Cabello uses a hammer to hit the tyre. That's sort of what I'm imagining. Okay, so fair to say, a huge part of the soundtrack of your life.
But also one of those things that when you now listen to, you go, oh, yeah, now
Takes me back.
I very remember this song
You're back
where
in
I
the
was at the
construction
time.
party of True nightclub.
Do you have any Liberty X memories?
School discos. They were a school disco soundtrack.
But they were also ahead of their time, weren't they?
Massively, because they were so Hearsay were quite reflective of the pop scene at that time. Hearsay were the band that Popstars intended to find, I think is fair to say.
Yeah.
They were feel good, cheery pop, and Liberty X were a little bit naughtier, a little bit kind of more provocative. Like they wore cat suits, they had a kind of sexy energy to them, whereas Hearsay were the band your parents wanted you to be listening to. And then you'd actually put your headphones on and listen to Liberty X.
And also Liberty X involved R&B.
Yeah.
At a time when it wasn't as commercially popular as it is now. And I think it sort of helped pave the way for other bands since then. I really felt like they were really ahead of their time.
And also, we should mention, they were commercially more successful than Hearsay. They were huge.
But then considered in the press to be flop stars.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think this chat will sort of expose that side of things of this was back in the day when the press's say was final, even if it wasn't reflective of what was actually happening in the clubs pre and during refurb.
Spoiler alert, press are really, really bad.
Yeah. We're going to be really brave and stick our heads above the parapet and say sometimes the press are dicks.
We should also remind what was actually happening that year in case 2001 was not really in the front of your...
Let us take you back. Let's get in the time machine. 2001, John Prescott, someone threw an egg at him, and what did he do?
Punched back.
I'd quite like a resurgence of that.
What, a resurgence of political violence?
Well, no, not... Oh, God, no, don't clip that bit up. All I'm saying is sometimes... No, okay, let me rephrase. When Liz Truss was Prime Minister for like a minute,
Yeah.
I think it could have done with her going, and maybe drop kicking a podium off the stage.
Okay.
You know, just a little bit more that.
Charles Ingram won £1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh,
allegedly.
that's him.
No, and then didn't.
Yes.
No, allegedly, he didn't.
That was his
Coughgate.
his wife coughing in the audience.
Yes.
Yes.
2 decades later, James Graham play and TV show.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Sven-Göran Eriksson took over charge of the England football team. And if you want to feel really, really old, if you are a football fan, Bukayo Saka was born in 2000.
Oh.
That makes me feel a bit ill.
Yeah. And that was 2001.
Yeah. So, enjoy this. Let us take you back. There'll be some fond memories of, if you've ever enjoyed a Liberty X track, you are in for a treat. It's time to welcome our guest on Remember Me from Liberty X. It's Kelli Young. Right, should we get cracking?
Yeah, should we get cracking?
Yeah?
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
This is such a thrill. I guess so. Shall we sort of start from the very beginning? Because the other day, I'm going to be sort of giving a full disclosure. I rewatched Popstars.
Wow.
Because it's all on YouTube.
Yes.
And of course, I had limited time, so I watched it on 3 times speed. but I found it was such a fascinating show because it was similar to the reality shows that then followed in terms of having someone, turning up and then becoming a huge singer. But it was in a very different way. It was like shot like a documentary. Yeah. I remember there was also one scene when they turned up at your house to say that you hadn't got in.
Yeah.
As
very
well.
Personal.
Yeah.
Very, very, very weird.
My space.
That's mad, the idea of that now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
essentially canvassing to go, bad news.
Yeah,
Like,
awful.
Bizarre. Did it feel bizarre at the time?
Yes.
Did it?
I mean, the fact that they were coming to your house made you feel like, they must have got in.
Yeah.
Must have got in the band. It must be a yes. But obviously it was that.
They wouldn't come to knock on my door to give bad news, would they?
But that was obviously why you got those emotional responses, which worked very well.
Yeah. And that's the bit where you're like, because I think, as you say, Scott, it was all meant to be documentary, like, this is real. But it was also the blueprint for what followed in terms of those really, really high emotion, very dramatic, wanting the ultimate reactions from people. If anything can get pushed to the max, Popstars were kind of navigating that. And that side of it is not the documentary aspect. No. And you were auditioning for things like The Lion King, right, at the time?
Yeah, well, I was actually still in college, so I was at Italia Conti, which is a stage school.
Yeah.
And I was doing my Lion King thing. Yeah. And then I was down to the final 2 for Nala in The Lion King. And I just woke up that morning and I looked at the advert and it was the last day, the last round of auditions in Southampton for Popstars. And I was living with 3 of the flatmates at the time, and I just sort of said to them, I really feel like I should go for it.
Just a gut feeling.
Yeah, just a gut feeling. I really feel like I should just do it, but I'd have to miss going in for Nala today. And my then flatmate, he's a musical theatre guy, Ben Forster, who's played lots of shows in town. He was like, "Oh, babe, you've got to just do follow your gut." So I was like, he's going to love that impression.
Yeah. We'll get letters about that. Yeah. Just like to apologise to everybody from the northeast.
At least you knew where he was
from.
Let's
trail that at the top of the podcast.
Imagine if we were like, sorry to everyone from Bangladesh.
Nailed it. From Sunderland, I nailed it. So I just thought, I'm just going to do it. So I just got on the train and went to Southampton and did it.
I think when I saw Popstars, they actually have a clip of you in there basically saying, I should be somewhere else, and when my agent finds out, they're gonna kill me.
I'm not supposed to be here because my agent doesn't know, and when she watches this, she's gonna absolutely kill me. Show me how you want it to be. Very, very scary.
Was that a real different lane compared to the other auditions for theatre that you'd been doing? Did it feel a bit more manufactured or dramatic or anything?
It felt like a bigger deal because there were cameras. The cameras absolutely everywhere. You were never doing anything in private.
Yeah.
If you were in the hallway, if you were going to the loo, there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And, the big boss of ITV was one of the judges, Succeed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any surreal moments that stood out? Because from one moment from us all, from watching the doc, one bizarre scene when somebody says, someone's not the age they say that they are, that they say they are. Yeah. And then someone comes forward and says, I'm actually 30. and they're looking for people between the ages of, was it 18 to 24? And
Something like that.
People who are shocked in the room. And I was thinking to myself, are they shocked in the room because they lied about their age, or are they shocked because they're actually 30?
When are you 18?
I'm 30.
You're what?
30. I understand if I have to go there. I do understand. I took a risk. I did.
I'm sorry you do.
Okay. Thanks very much anyway.
Okay.
There must have been surreal moments along the way.
There's loads of surreal moments and loads of abnormal behaviour. Like, people's reactions to things were bigger than they would ordinarily be because there was cameras. So you had people who were playing up to the cameras.
Right, yeah.
People who understood that, I think, quicker than others. Surreal moment that stands out is probably when Darius got ejected.
Mm-hmm.
And we all went back to the hotel and he sang to everyone.
Your talent shines and it fills this hollow. Laugh when you're winning.
It was really surreal. God rest his soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was all very dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And totally not in keeping with a normal audition
No,
vibe.
definitely
No.
not.
And then how did it feel? I mean, I talked about it earlier when one of them came to your house to then be like, oh, hiya, you've not got through.
Yeah.
We're actually going with somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Cheers, Nikki.
Okay.
Take care.
All the best, okay? And again, thank you for everything.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
It was absolutely gutting and then they just left.
That is it. Like, what we see is that, and then they
Pretty
basically
much.
pack up and go, cheers for your time.
Basically, aside from when we all made the final 10, we all had to sign the contract to be in the band. And we were on a retainer. So the people who weren't picked, we were on a retainer. We all had like a double within the picked band, sort of like 2 altos, 2 tenors, 2 bass.
Okay.
So everyone had their sort of like double within hearsay, if you like.
Yeah.
And the 5 of us had agreed for a certain period of time that A, we wouldn't divulge who was in the band. So it's basically an NDA, and B, that we would jump in for our double within that band if any of them was to leave or something bad was to happen to them or whatever. So there was a period of time where we were tied to them actually, and we weren't allowed to do anything else, but they obviously paid us for that period of time.
Yeah.
So although it was a no, we were aware that we've got, I think it was a 12-week period before, because also it was pre-recorded. So it was important that we were the only people in the nation who knew who made the band.
Right.
So it was important that we didn't spoil it. It was weird because although we were let go, the 5 of us who became Liberty were sort of like tied together inadvertently because we had this massive secret.
Yeah.
That
Sort of
anyone-
like a state of limbo for a
It's a
bit.
state of limbo. And we started to have like press knocking on our doors, people interested in us.
Wow.
Then I was finding it difficult to then go to college because there was like press outside of college and people going, well, if you're in college, does that mean you're not in the band, or is this a ruse? We were all starting to have these weird life experiences, and the only people we could confide in were one another.
Yep.
So we sort of had a 6-month period where we just constantly had kind of like bi-weekly phone calls. And
I was going to say this is before WhatsApp groups or
Yeah.
anything like
Yeah,
that. So
'cause-
you're doing this, ringing up each other,
yeah, just
checking
going,
in.
what happened? Yeah, checking in, or like, you know, Jess had phoned me going, oh my God, that, you know, like the sun were outside my bar job today and it was a nightmare, or there was someone going through my bins and, you know,
Yeah.
be careful of this and be
Were
careful
you
of
having all that as well then?
Yeah. And then as the show came on, we were like really, I remember a sort of pivotal moment for me was that I decided I'd sort of almost built up the courage to go to college, because also everyone in college was asking me, you made it into that band every day.
But that's a tremendous pressure on an 18-year-old in college with press rocking up, speaking to your classmates, speaking to your family, I'm guessing, and looking through your bins, and you can't divulge it to anyone.
Yeah, and there really wasn't a support network.
No.
Or, you know, no professional support. There was nothing to sort of, you know, safety net to hold us. We were just out there on our own. So it was a lot. One of the days where I sort of plucked up the courage to go to college, there was a bunch of people all holding the Daily Star outside of college, all going, oh my God. And then obviously all shut up when I walked up so I was like, what's in the paper? And the Star had put some of us girls who were in the show had put our heads on porn stars' bodies.
No.
And so it was like, and they were sort of saying, the sort of tone of the interview was, it was just like a huge picture of me with the body of a porn star. And everyone was like talking about it and gossiping about it outside college. And I remember just feeling absolutely sick. I was just like,
unbelievable.
Oh my, I was basically a kid.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I just remember just feeling like just everybody was talking about me and it was like horrific.
Yeah, because you're hearing that also secondhand. I mean, it's awful to begin with, and then you're hearing that from people you were at college with.
Yeah, it was a lot at that time. So I think that is why our relationship as the five of us got so tight so quick, because we had really out of the ordinary extreme experiences.
And you were the only
ones. And we couldn't speak to
ones.
anyone else about it.
It's like a secret band, isn't it?
Yeah,
Which
I love
is so
it.
strange, because in all other reality shows since, there's been how One Direction was formed or how other bands were, that they were the runners up.
Yeah.
It always used to be the case that you didn't have to necessarily win the show to end up having a really successful career. But it felt like for you, it was like you couldn't do it literally until the moment where you could at the end. And
Well, I just don't think it had been something that the TV company or record company had even considered that anyone other than the winners would do anything, because there was no blueprint for it.
Yeah.
So it had never been done. So they were just looking for a band
To win. Yeah.
They wanted to pick their five, and that was the end of it, really. And so actually, once we announced that we were going to be a band, it wasn't well received. Partially, really, very much so.
Which paper was it that called you flop stars?
All of the papers.
All of the papers.
Every single one.
Brutal.
Yeah. But I think it wasn't well received because A, they hadn't thought of it, and
Yeah,
B,
of
they
course.
hadn't signed us up.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So beyond that, once we'd seen out that 12-week contract, we were free as birds. We could do what we wanted, and they didn't make a penny from it.
So they felt a bit like, what have we created, and we're not even going to be able to cash on it.
Yeah. So to start with, we had such a lot of hype because what we did was we actually went on that Lorraine show, and when Lorraine asked us what we were all going to do next, we said, well, we've been talking about it and we think we're going to be a band, much to ITV's dismay. Nigel Lithgow's actually with us, accompanying us. So that the point of us.
I got like secondhand anxiety.
All on the cheeriness of Lorraine.
Yeah.
That is such a lovely delight.
Yeah. But the point of us being there was to promote Popstars and admit that we were the losers. And we didn't, give him a heads up that this is what we were going to do. And we just kind of like made that announcement so it was out there to the nation. And so they were a bit like, oh, right. That's
he angry?
bombshell. He didn't present as angry.
Right.
He was just a bit like, right. And shortly after, he was like, well, let us help you. But we were very suspicious of that because we were like, well, why? Maybe they will help us, but maybe they won't. I think we figured out pretty quickly that if it was going to work, they had a massive machine.
Yeah.
They had a song ready before the band was even picked. They had all the budget, all the support, and we had absolutely nothing. No one was expecting this. So I think we were just a bit like, right, if we are going to make this work, we need to actually develop, have something, have music, have a sound, have our own angle that's nothing to do with that show.
It's incredibly mature and measured for such a group of young people who've been thrust into the spotlight, haven't won, to not take the dangling carrot offer of, yeah, I'll do it for you, and to have that sort of presence of mind to go, we need to take it slow and steady with this and really hone our sound and know what we're doing. Was it frustrating then that the press still went with this rivalry of you versus Hearsay? Did you reject that, or was it actually quite helpful?
With hindsight, I think it was helpful because I think, it's all column inches are good column inches, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they say.
How did you come up with the name Liberty X?
So initially we called ourselves Liberty, just the connotations of freedom and being able to do our own thing. But then later down the line, after we released Just a Little, which was our third single, we were sued in the High Court by a 5-piece man band called Liberty, who sued us actually for passing off. So we were absolutely gutted. We were literally just like, right, okay. So we had to change the name.
Which is what I love. Just add an X on.
Yeah.
It's just like,
You just know that really miffed that 5-man band right there. Just going, okay, yeah, you've got a point. We'll call ourselves something totally different. We're Liberty X.
But you know what? The X brought us luck because adding the X, it then gave, I don't know, it just gave an edge.
It's a way better name.
It's a way better name. We had then the single Just a Little came out, and it was, the opening line of it was sexy, and it was like the X went with that.
The X
and it
is
was
provocative.
Just, it's all X, Liberty X rated, Liberty Extra, Liberty. And it was just like, it worked out for the best. So, and thank God that song was a success though, because if it wasn't, we'd spent our whole budget for the next song on that court case and had lost. So we would have been out on our ear.
I think one of the things that we're most interested in as well that's so different to back then to maybe now is the type of press and attention. In terms of now with social media, it's a very different beast, fame.
Yeah.
But that's not to sort of say that it was less back then. If anything, it was more in person, wasn't it? It was more in your face. Now, in 2026, looking back at that 18-year-old on the turn of a century with that press attitude that a lot of the turns of phrase that we used back in the tabloids could never be used now. How do you reflect on how that kid coped with fame?
I think the way the press were still informs my life now, to be
Really?
honest, if I'm honest.
How so?
I think there was just so much intrusion.
Yeah.
And so much, look at the phone hacking scandal and all of that kind of thing was just the norm. Mm-hmm. It made you feel, I think, that you could never trust anyone. It just made you feel like everyone around you could be, there were leaks happening all around. Was it someone in your team? Was it someone in your family? Was it your friends?
And you really wouldn't know.
So it made you sort of really close ranks on everybody around you, and sort of made you feel like I'm only telling a select few people anything about me.
Yeah.
And I think that has carried on.
Really?
Through my life now, because it was at a pivotal point, when I was growing up, essentially, between the ages of 18 to, my late 20s, early 30s, that was the sort of like tone of...
It's a young age to have instilled into you, don't trust people freely.
Yeah. And you had no way to... Because one way I think that the social media age is better now is that you have a way to tell your own story.
Yeah.
Put your own narrative out there. Whereas there's no way to do that back then. So if a false story was printed or, that's just what people believed, the end. And so it was a difficult time to be a young woman.
Yeah.
There was seriously inappropriate behaviour happening everywhere.
Yeah.
The way paparazzis got on was horrendous. When I think back now, we'd be coming out of clubs and stuff, there'd be photographers lying on the floor
to get
up your skirt shot, and then they'd be criticising you for wearing a short skirt the next day in the paper. It was like...
You can't win.
You just literally could not win, and you had to play the game because you needed the tabloids then, because there was no other way to get your product out there. It was an effective way to get everyone talking about you, and they knew that. So they had that power. So you had to play a game with them and almost like allow them to play a game with you. And it was murky.
Yeah.
What motivated you when it did get tough in terms of the paparazzi?
I think at the time it was happening, there wasn't even enough time to think about it, to be
Really?
honest. Like, we worked so hard, like all day, every day, travelled so much. Our schedules, which were printed, we had printed schedules, were crazy. Just non-stop. There was just always somewhere to be, something to do. And then obviously all the travelling in between those things just meant that there was just never a minute where we weren't working. We used to take the first week of January off every year, and that was it. Other than that, it'd be 7 days a week for 7 years.
That is, and then to think you're leaving a club or something, and the one thing that somebody will run with is a picture of. So I mean, you mentioned the nature of the press there, and the sort of cruelty of them, I think is fair to say. But also that had kind of seeped in. When you watch back Popstars now, Nasty Nige, the way he used to speak to some of like the contestants, there was obviously the comments about like Kim Marsh and her body weight and stuff. That, and again, at such a young age, and it was sort of accepted of, to the viewer, it was, but this is the reality of an industry. This is what it's like if you want to make it. Did you struggle with that, with having to accept the whole, but that's the industry, that's the paparazzi?
Yeah, you just had to try and be everything.
Yeah.
You had to be, talented, thin, pretty.
What was the phrasing you heard them say?
There was one bit of Popstars that I remember seeing where they said, they've got to be able to sing, they've got to be good looking, and they've also got to have a bit of a personality. And it was just the word "a bit." I was a bit like thinking,
not too much, not too much, because then you might argue too much.
Yeah. Heaven forbid you stand up for yourself. It was the press that was the tricky side.
I mean, not that it wasn't tricky though to constantly try and be your best you, or but I think I was just young and up for it.
Yeah.
But now I think about it again, looking back, being a proper fully fledged grown up with kids, I wouldn't have wanted them to go through what I went through, and I'd probably have different things to say about it.
What advice would you give to?
Well, I think the
young
landscape
Kelli?
is different now.
Right.
I do think the landscape is different in a good way.
Okay.
Like I think there's a lot more awareness around body image. There's a lot more awareness around mental health. There's a lot more kindness, like even like things like this that I used to turn up and do. I used to just have anxiety because there was a culture of I feel like everyone just wanted to take the piss.
Kind of like Liberty X when we added the X.
You did add the X.
Added the sex.
People won't remember this because people barely remember Liberty X.
There was just a culture of, you'd sit down and do shows like Nevermind the Buzzcocks and Pop World.
Yes, of course.
And things like that.
And they're trying to catch you out.
And they're just, the whole tone of it, although you were there to promote the song, it's like you were there to promote your song, so you had to let people just run amok, take the piss out of you. And that was sit there and laugh about it.
Yeah.
Like a mentality of, you've got nothing to complain about because you're successful.
Yeah.
So if you're seen to moan in any way, or even, it's like, we are allowed to take the mick out of you because you're above us, you're fair game.
And it just was the tone of the noughties. If you watch any of those shows back then, it just was the tone of that time.
Yeah.
And pop was seen as not serious, manufactured, and sometimes we wished we were manufactured because we were working so hard to write our own stuff, form our own sound. But people would just make the assumption that we were a manufactured band, and we just had to
So they would never believe you when you said we made this record?
I don't think it was that they didn't believe us. We just often didn't have the opportunity to get that message out there.
So when the success came, like when you, take for example the Brit Award, like that must have felt such a, frankly, two fingers up to the doubters, the people that had labelled you flop stars, the people that had kind of suggested that this wasn't going to work.
And the winner is Liberty X for Just a Little.
Does anyone now remember Hearsay? Liberty X do, and as you can see, they are laughing all the way to the winner's podium.
It was amazing. Brit Awards night was incredible, and also we won Best Single, which was voted for by the public. So it just felt like, right, the industry can't stop us now.
Yeah,
it's the public like it. That's the whole point of it.
Do you know what I feel we don't get anymore as well with bands? Choreography. I don't think we get.
I love a bit of
which
choreo.
you guys did so. You loved a choreographed routine, right?
We had canes, we had chairs.
Yes, you had a lot.
Full disclaimer: at a school disco when I was about 11,
wait for this.
I tried to recreate part of the song.
Yes.
Which is a very.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. I didn't have a cane. I had to use an invisible cane, and I was 11, so there's a lot to unpack.
You were doing all the parts.
No, just some. Because also the music video, phenomenal. Yeah. It's like it looks like Mission Impossible, and everyone's wearing latex.
It's an all-time great. It's
an all-time banger.
Good.
We're still proud of it.
Do you have like a box at home where you keep mementos and stuff from that time?
Yes.
Great.
What's in it?
I've got like boxes of all sorts. I've got boxes of collections of like press clippings. Our old manager's actually got all the cat suits from the video.
Amazing.
Videos.
You're like, I'll pay whatever you want. Is there a fashion or an outfit from your time in Liberty X that you really like, either makes you laugh looking back at or you think back fondly of?
Because fashion eras of that era were dramatic.
It was go hard or go home.
Yeah.
And I was very much going home.
There's I know there was definitely some fashion faux pas, without a doubt, but I don't regret any of them.
No, I feel like I'd quite appreciate an exhibition. Do you know what I mean?
Put it in a glass cage now.
Yeah, 100%. Are you all still close?
Yeah, really close. I mean, me and the girls, we still we go out as Liberty X.
Yeah.
So we see each other a lot.
Yes.
So, especially in the summertime, festival season, we're out there, prides and things.
What bands do you think you influenced?
That is a great question, Scott.
I don't
really
think
good.
I've ever been asked that question before.
Well done.
I think we were just heavily influenced by, I wouldn't necessarily say by any particular bands necessarily, but by the music that we were listening to in the clubs at the time.
Right.
So I think we were all massively into R&B at the time, which is possibly one of the reasons why they didn't pick a few of us for Hearsay.
Yeah.
Because I think we were definitely, like me, Jess, Kevin's got such a soulful voice, and they had Pure and Simple as the song. So I think we didn't fit in that sort of like straight pop kind of.
And was there like a narrative that R&B wouldn't sell?
Yeah.
Really?
100. I can tell you a story around that if you want.
Yeah.
So when Nigel Lithgow took us to have a meeting with Simon Cowell in that period of time, where we were, he was saying he was going to help us find a deal. So we went and saw Simon, and we chatted about what he asked us a lot about what we wanted to be, and we were talking about our influences being R&B pop, at which his eyes just glazed over. It was mostly Tony doing the talking in that meeting at that time. And when we left the meeting, Nigel said to us, Simon's really interested in signing you, but he wants to sign you without Kelli. He doesn't see you doing R&B. He doesn't think it will sell. And he thinks Kelly's the influencing factor in wanting to do that sound. And Nigel was like, don't worry, because there's lots of opportunities coming in for Kelli on her own. So, have a think about it. And then he just like shut the car door, and we were all just sat there like, and at the time, Simon Cowell was the biggest A&R in the game.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like, well, he's sort of dropped that R&B is not going to work, and these four are going to want to sign with him because he's the biggest A&R in the game. He could literally make them stars. And also, it wasn't me.
Yeah, Tony had done all the talking.
Tony did most of the talking in that meeting, and also we all felt that R&B would suit our style of vocal. So,
How did that make you feel?
To be honest with you, with hindsight, I never heard it out of Simon's actual mouth. So it was secondhand information. So I don't know, how true it was. But at the time, it made me feel a bit like, trying to get the black one out of the band, let's be fair. Thinking that she's the one who is making everyone want to do this R&B sound. The reaction of the band, everyone was just like, well, we don't want to split up. We want to do this thing together. Like, we know what we want to do, right? And I was like, oh, thank God.
Did that mean the world?
Yeah, it meant the world. And it solidified the fact that we were a team then. It was just like, and let's go and make this sound that we want to make. Let's go and do this thing.
God, that's wild.
That is
when
wild.
you think like R&B at that time as well was like...
It was.
Why would it not have worked?
It was just starting to cross over, I think.
Yeah.
Because we were coming out of... Late 90s was sort of like, Spice Girls, Westlife, S Club. So it had been a pop
cheery
era.
pop, yeah.
But in the clubs, when you were going out clubbing, it was R&B, American R&B.
Did you ever see other bands doing their thing? Was there much interaction with other pop bands at that time? Or was it very much shielded? Like, you do your thing, we were kettling you over there.
We spent lots of time with lots of bands, and it was really fun. That's another thing that I feel possibly pop stars of today aren't getting, that interaction with each other.
Yeah.
It's a very solo thing with your phone. these days, whereas we were doing multi-act tours, you know, Smash Hits tours.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Smash Hits, the Poll Winners Party.
Yeah.
What an era that was.
Yeah, I do feel really blessed. I do feel like we were the end of the sort of pop glory days.
Yeah.
It was a fun time. You know, we talked about all the things that weren't fun, but we did have loads of fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun time to be out there.
And also the thrill of being on Top of the Pops as well must have been.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Were you singing live?
Top of the Pops didn't always let you.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't always let you.
I remember learning that for the first time, and now when you watch it, it's amazing because there's people playing electric guitars that are not plugged in.
Yeah, and people are fuming about it, and you can see. But you used to get, again though, it was a nightmare because the press used to criticise you if you were on that week and you didn't sing live. You'd get blasted in the press for not singing live. But you'd be like, well, they haven't, you know, like Pop World were a show that didn't have the capability for you to sing live. We had like coat hangers as head mics, you know, because they didn't have a setup. They weren't set up for it. So, I mean, you could do it on some shows sometimes, but Top of the Pops was always a really big deal. We always had like, you know, loads of, you know, hair and makeup team, costumes. Yeah. It was just a lot. And it was a whole day because they had the Star Bar. Do you remember the Star Bar?
Oh my God, yeah, where you'd go sit after.
Yeah. So you'd do a pre-interview in the Star Bar with whoever was presenting. And then you do the show, and then everyone will go back to the Star Bar for drinks. Woo! So
sorry, a part of my whole brain is just unlocked full of memories of like literally it's one of my sons like Star Bar. What's this? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then there'd be Heat magazine, wouldn't there? The next issue of Heat would be all what went on in the Star Bar.
Yes.
Who was talking to who?
Yes.
Who might have been getting off with who in the corner? That sort of thing.
But that's the thing. Like now, I look at some like you know the new bands now, the new singers now, and I'm like, how do you like make friends with other people in the industry or like find a partner in the industry because those things aren't happening.
Yeah,
you know,
can't get off with it. There's no corners to be getting off
with someone. Where was the most bizarre place that fame took you?
There's loads of surreal moments. Just one that sprung to mind was we entertained the troops in Bosnia over the New Year.
Sorry.
What a shifting gear from the Star
Bar. That was not what I expected.
No. Were you expecting some like nightclub?
I was expecting sort of like, you know, a uni in the north of England. And
there was loads of those.
We were entertaining the troops in Bosnia.
And I remember they let us drive the tanks.
How do you entertain the troops in Bosnia?
Just
perform?
Show. Yeah, they're just happy that you're there.
Great.
But we were allowed to drive the tanks, and I do remember driving a tank going, this is mad. This is absolute madness.
Were you in the cat suits?
Should have been really.
Cat suit in the tanks with a cane.
Were you allowed to fire anything?
Weren't allowed to fire, obviously not.
God. No, I don't know where you were.
Liberty X on the AK-47 Scott.
That's just...
It's a way to promote a tour.
Driving a tank was the limit. I felt like it was irresponsible of them to let us drive the tanks, to be honest. So, yeah,
did anyone take your photo? Do you have a photo?
Yes, there will be
Is
photos
it in the box?
of it. I don't know. Maybe.
You've driven a tank.
In Bosnia.
You've driven an army tank.
Yeah, in a war zone. Yeah, it's mad.
In return for singing Just a Little and
Literally.
Thinking of You.
Yeah.
Great, now can I drive your tank?
Yeah.
What a world.
And I remember when we were performing for the troops, they were on a 2-can rule. And I remember them all just looking at them all out there, sipping their second can, just trying to make it
trying to log it out.
Yeah, and just thinking, this is weird. It's so surreal.
Oh my God.
The whole thing, that whole trip was surreal.
Why did you go to Bosnia? Was it like them being like, oh, it's a great way to help morale?
Yeah.
So it's not a way to sell singles because I guess
God,
it's not
no.
out there.
The modern
We're
day.
all going off to the Bosnian HMV. And
The modern day Vera Lynn. Just there to boost the morale.
Just to boost morale. I think they still do that. You know, like it's New Year's. They're there over New Year's, serving their country. It's pretty bleak. It was pretty bleak out there at that time.
I literally could chat to you all day.
I think we have.
Yeah, I think we have.
I'm so surprised how long I can chat about myself.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Like, it's so lovely to hear you kind of look back still so fondly on what
times.
a journey. Yeah.
What a child today.
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me,
such
guys.
a pleasure.
It's been lovely.
Thank
see you at the exhibition.
Yes.
That we're going to watch now.
He'll bring his imaginary cane.
Yeah.
That's all we have time for this week on Remember Me. Thanks so much to Kelli Young for joining us.
Remember to like and subscribe on our YouTube page, and also you can follow us at Remember Me Show and on TikTok at Remember Me Show MDS.
Send in your questions and guest suggestions for who you want us to have on future episodes of the show. You can email us at rememberme@micdropstudios.com, and you can also visit us at micdropstudios.com/rememberme. And don't forget to leave your comments below about today's episodes. We do read every single one. Until next week, bye!